Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well. Hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. Hope everyone is feeling full, feeling festive, and maybe a bit refreshed after finally a Tottenham Hotspur win at Selhurst Park. It's been a long time coming since we won. Maybe it isn't it? It's not actually that long, but it feels like it's been quite a tough ride the last few games, but we did get the 1-0 win. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't attractive football, but we will be reviewing that for around 5-10 minutes. And then we are going to get into a little preview of the Brentford game, which is on New Year's Day in just 3 days' time. And then we are going to spend about 15 or so minutes discussing transfers. As you can see by the title of the video, we have some links already. The January transfer window is hotting up. Samu from Porto, Goretzka of Bayern Munich, Wharton of Palace. Some of these more realistic than others, of course, but we are going to bring you up to date with all of the latest transfer news, views, and rumours. But if you could all do me three massive favours, if you're watching offline, please do smash the like button. If you're watching live, smash the like button as well. Turn on the notification bell down below to never miss a transfer update video. We're going to be doing as much transfer content for you guys as we can. And of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. But as you can see, we are back, joined alongside the familiar three of Thomas Frank's AI son. I'm holding on to that for now because he wants me to change it, but I'm not going to change it for now. That's kind of bullying, isn't it, really? It is, of course, Frank Thomas. Frank, mate, how are you doing? How was your Christmas?
It was lovely. It was lovely. It was actually quite a nice break from Tottenham. It was nice to not play on Boxing Day for once. Much as I missed the football in general, it was nice that we didn't ruin my Boxing Day. But no, it was nice. I'm pleased they won yesterday. I mean, I probably could have fallen asleep during it a couple of times, but it was an important win. I would go as far as saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice to get the win. It was weird. I didn't feel as happy as I should be about a win. Maybe I'm not the only one feeling like that. But let's welcome in, obviously, Billy T as well. Billy, mate, becoming a regular here, as we know, we're getting you on most of our episodes, which is fantastic for the viewers. How was your Christmas, mate, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. And as always, you know, we've got a little group chat, the three of us. We've spoken a lot more recently about darts and football, which I think says it all. But, mate, the darts at the moment is just absolute fire, isn't it? Like every game. But, yeah, I wish Spurs were exciting as that, but nice to get a win always.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly
got a few
been
bets
a
on, haven't we, James, and a few accumulators here and there.
Absolutely love it.
That's the main thing that we're talking about these days, isn't it? Darts.
Yeah, it does seem to be that way, doesn't it? It does really seem to be that way. But guys, we will get into talking about football as much as I want to talk about Gary Anderson's missed double 12 for the 9-darter yesterday. We will talk about football. Guys in the chat, I'm going to welcome in a couple of people. And if you are also in the chat, let us know. Let us know how your Christmas was. Let us know how you're feeling about Tottenham. Nice happy comment as always from I Want to Drink from Your Eye. Savinho is rubbish. I'm glad he's not coming. There's no chance Tottenham sign Wharton. And it's most likely going to be a loan deal because it's hard to buy players in January. That's the only one that is spot on there, to be fair to you. Who is Samu? And can you buy him on Samu? I mean, what are we doing here? Logan THFC, good evening, fellas. Big up to yourselves. Not the best watch yesterday, but a win is a win. Absolutely. And yeah, that's very good. And it's fantastic signing. Please bring in Samu, says Johannes. Johannes, hope you're doing well. But as the numbers grow, we will talk about the Palace game for about 5-10 minutes. But stick with us. We will be talking transfers because I know that's what a lot of you are here for. And that's what we love doing over on Spurs Related. One more from Karaluka. Saying good morning from South Carolina. Nice to get a win on Sunday. More than my NFL team can say. I'm guessing you are a Carolina Panthers fan, my friend, who are not the best team. But anyway, let's talk about the game. Let's obviously assess the stats. And Archie Gray getting his first senior goal after, I believe, around 120-something appearances. Forgotten the exact number. But his first senior goal, he was absolutely buzzing in the post-match press conference, as you can imagine. And let's be honest, guys, we got battered for the majority of the game. I thought Palace were wasteful with a lot of their chances. I thought Mateta could have had a brace himself. But as you can see, 16 shots for Palace and only 2 shots on target. Tottenham, much more clinical. Obviously, 9 shots, 5 on target. But we did have 2 disallowed goals via Richarlison's 2 offsides. I'll start with Frank. Frank, what did you make of the game? I know you said you were falling asleep, but on the whole, do you think Tottenham deserved the win, or do you think we probably were a bit fortunate in the end?
I think we were quite fortunate, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I will say is the numbers do obviously take away the offside chances they had, and they were real minimal offside. So they did create 3 sort of proper goal scoring chances, but the numbers don't lie. They had, I think it was 0.21 expected goals from open play, which is really poor, like really poor. And I think most of that was kind of Odegaard near the end. It was. I think Johnson had one. It was quite poor. I think if Justin Devaney, who looks all right, had a better performance than he did, Palace probably could have scored 3 or 4. A lot broke down on that sort of right hand side with him. We were relatively solid at the back, but again, the same sort of problems that they are. There's a real lack of fluidity going forward. A real lack of fluidity, and Wharton. I mean, Wharton's unbelievable, but I don't think he was probably at his real peak either, and he controlled most of that game very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say I didn't think Wharton was at his very best. Certainly, sort of bringing the ball forward as he does so well. I thought obviously he mopped up well and sort of retained possession, but I don't think he was actually at his very best in terms of all his best attributes. Bill, do you agree with Frank? Do you think Palace were very wasteful, and do you think we somewhat deserved the win, or did you just think again it was a bit of a ball fest and we'll just take the 3 points and run kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably more sort of halfway between the two. I think the offside goals I thought were pretty unlucky. They're really minimal offside, and it's a completely different game if those go in. I thought we were pretty much second best until the last 10, 15. As soon as Odegaard came on, I thought we were the better side quite comfortably, and it just shows, when we do throw a bit of caution to the wind and play with actual wingers and players, people that can actually carry the ball, then, we can be dangerous. But I think in the second half in particular, when we low blocked against Palace, that's a bit worrying for me, to be honest, a bit too cautious. I know obviously with Romero injured, we're not going to be he's one of our best ball progressors, but I read yesterday that Adam Wharton had 10 progressive passes to our entire midfield 4. So
wow.
It's almost 3 times more than our midfield combined. So yeah, same problems, but you can't grumble at an away win in the Premier League, and you definitely can't grumble. Palace, I mean, it's a bit of a slack form at the moment, but they're a decent team still. They're I also saw today that they're 6th in the league in the calendar year league table, so good victory for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, some nice stats there, Bill. I'm glad you've done your homework. But I mean, somehow Spurs have got the best away record in the entire Premier League. Can you guys believe
crazy,
that? After
and the 17th best home record. 17th best home record.
17th best home record. I think it is the best away record, right?
Yeah, I went top yesterday.
Absolutely mental, absolutely crazy. Who would have thought it? Basically, don't go to any home games, only go to the away games. No, I'm joking. But let's look at some of the player ratings from that game.
Can I very quickly say something linked to what Billy said then about the passing forward? I saw a tweet, which I've just got up here, from Jack Pickbrook. And I think it summed it up the best tweet I saw yesterday, where it said Adam Wharton passing the ball forward to a teammate makes it look like the simplest thing in the world, which is strange because when Tottenham's midfielders generally make it look like they're trying to solve a niche brand of quantum mechanics. Yeah. And I think that summed it up quite nicely, to be honest. That there's I love Bergvall, and I thought Bergvall had a pretty decent game, and I love Archie Gray and whatever, but there's a real, and I don't know if that's just being coached in a way, Palace, that they're set up to. I mean, everything Palace did was quick. They broke down a lot in and around the area.
There were a couple of times where they did 2 passes and went straight through us, wasn't it? As well?
Yeah, they just split us open so easily. And Mateta was quite poor with holding the ball a couple of times. And had someone have held the ball better up front, Palace could have sort of ripped us apart a few times because it was bang, bang, and they were through you. And we don't do that. We're so slow with everything. And so maybe they're being coached in a way that allows players like Wharton to progress more, but there feels like there's a big gap anyway. I think there's an argument to suggest that Wharton's one of the better midfielders in the league already. I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
Well, as we've talked about Wharton quite early on, and I want to keep the viewers sort of engaged in the transfer piece, we are going to be talking about Adam Wharton and a potential link to Tottenham. Obviously, we had a lot of links to him in the summer, and that didn't come into fruition. But it is worth noting that he is back on our radar, and apparently we are stepping our pursuit up of him. But I mean, let's be honest, guys. Not to shut that one down early, but would you come from Palace to Tottenham right this minute?
Especially if you're a player like Adam Wharton, who will probably have the pick of any club that he wants, including abroad as well. He's that good, I think. With the way that he'll probably go to the World Cup, I think he'll have a decent. If he gets a couple of sub appearances in the World Cup, and then could probably play Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal.
Yeah.
He could go anywhere. So if we do get him, it would be a miracle. But what a signing that would be! And I think, to be honest, I think if there's one, I know we're going to talk about it later, but if there's one player that I could sign in world football, it probably would be him at this point.
Wow. Big statement there from Billy T. Let's get a couple more comments in. Adele Moore on Facebook. Even in all things, feel a lot better yesterday after a win, but still worrying performance. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Ad. Hope you had a great Christmas. Stefan Everington, evening, gents. Sorry, James, I am not related to Matt Everington. He's put me out my misery. I asked him every single episode, and I never get the full answer. So, Stefan, even though you've got a class surname, thanks for confirming that you are not related to Matthew Everington. Looks like that. Hopefully some new faces in the new year, but attacking quality still lacking, says Ad. But anyway, let's get back up this very quickly. I don't want to dwell too much on the Palace game because I feel like there wasn't much to talk about anyway. Like, we've got the win. I'm happy we've got the win. Am I buzzing? No, because I thought we didn't play very well at all, as Ad has just pointed out. But obviously, a bit of a worry that Bergvall came off injured. I'm not entirely sure the extent of that. Bill, Frank, any ideas how long that could be?
No news at the moment, don't think so. I haven't heard anything about it being a major one, so hopefully it'll be back in the mix with Brentford.
Okay, hopefully it's just a knock then. I've just realised I've got a green jumper on and it's like green screening every time because I'm like half disappearing, so it's probably the worst choice. But anyway, Richarlison, I thought he had a good game. Obviously, offside a couple of times. Didn't need to be offside, especially for that second one. I thought that was pretty poor. He didn't really need to be in that position. Vicario, I thought, was a little bit better. The back line, obviously, naturally getting better ratings via SofaScore because of the clean sheet. Archie Gray, obviously, up there with a 7, although I actually didn't think he had an incredible game. Yes, he got his goal, but I thought at times wasn't looking incredible. Kudus kind of maybe gone off the boil. Guys, what do you reckon? Who do you think should have got like top 2 or 3 out of our team? I thought Danzo was pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Kudus is an interesting one, isn't it? And Richarlison, because if those 2 goals, and that's an assist for Kudus. He also made the first one with a really good tackle to win the ball back and then gave it to Porro's cross. And then it's just funny how much offside goals can really change everything. We're probably thinking you're probably sitting there with like a 7.6 thinking he's man of the match. But, he didn't actually do anything in terms of the actual game. But I think he's knackered as well at the moment. I really do. I thought Mawani showed one bit of quality to win the corner for the goal and then was largely absent. I think for me, the standout player yesterday was someone not on that graphic there, was Wilson Odobert, who completely flipped the game on his head when it came on, to be honest. I wasn't like majorly impressed with anyone. I thought Richarlison is always lively, isn't he? So he got an assist, 2 goals ruled out. He's just always in the mix, isn't he? I think that's it's a goal or assist in almost every game for the last 5 or 6 games for him. But I know on Sky Dancer won man of the match, but my pick would be Odobert for sure.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Odobert did come on and really make an impact. He looked fantastic. He looked like a different player almost when he came on. He really did change the dynamic of the game. Frank, who's your player of the match? Are you agreeing with Bill there, or have you got anyone else you wanted to highlight on that starting 11 or anyone?
This is the only time I'm ever going to do this. But I actually thought Richarlison. I thought Richarlison played quite well. And don't get me wrong, it was one of the better games I've watched of Richarlison, I think, at Tottenham, actually. I thought his general play was the best I've seen it. I'm not his biggest fan at all. He scored some goals, and I'm not going to, across the season, but I think his general play is pretty low in terms of the quality of it. Yesterday, I was more impressed with most of it, actually, in that. And I think his movement, I know he was offside for the second one, it's poor, but I think his movement to get in the right areas and things is pretty good. I don't think he's a top-level striker by any means. And I think if you want to really progress, then he's one that you have to upgrade. But yesterday, I was more impressed than I have been for a long while with Richarlison.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair summary. He didn't actually get the Premier League man of the match, did he? Because I saw he posted that did he keep nicking it off the man of the match?
Keep nicking it, yeah. And the captain's armband stick as well.
Oh, what a joker. Anyway, that's about it for the Palace game. Guys, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, Archie Gray's first goal in 112 games. Mad, isn't it?
There you go. Archie Gray's first goal in 112 senior
And he's played 112 games at the age of 19, which is mental.
And also he's played left back, centre defensive mid, centre mid, right back. I mean, probably surprised he's not been in goal under Ange. But yeah, he played all sorts of positions. I think he actually noted in his interview after the game that he would have hoped to have got it a little bit earlier, but he's obviously played all these different positions more defensively. But yeah, fair play to the lad. He was absolutely buzzing, as you can see, celebrating with Richarlison right there. But anyway, let's go into talking about, a little preview of the Brentford game. And then I'm excited to talk about transfers. Guys, in the chat, let me know if you're excited for the transfer window. Give me a little number one in the chat if you are buzzing for the transfer window. And guys, just a little reminder, I'm putting these back onto Spotify and Apple Pods or wherever you get your podcasts. So if you do want to listen to the audio versions of these uploads, I am going to be uploading them every single time we record these. But obviously, most of you now are watching on YouTube or Facebook. So let's talk about the Brentford game. Obviously, it's a bit of a weird one, actually, because we only played them just 2 or 3 weeks ago. And obviously, that's where Xavi Simons scored that great goal, little mazy run. But the game is on New Year's Day, Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time. Before we go into talking about like head-to-heads and everything else, I just wanted to point out that after that win, it's all very close. We were in about 14th, weren't we? And now we're back up to 11th, above Newcastle, above Brighton, above Bournemouth. 3 of those teams, all 3 of them you'd expect to be a top half of the table. But actually, the top half of the table is looking like Sunderland, Brentford, Palace, and Fulham. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'd expect that to be almost the other way around, from 6th to 10th and 11th to 14th. It's been quite an up and down season for a lot of teams. Frank, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, Brentford. Do you feel like they're playing like a team that's in 8th, or do you think they're going to start coming down the table soon?
Yeah, I think Brentford will drop off a little bit. I mean, they're very good at home. I want to say that 7 of their 8 wins this season have come at home. It might be 6, but it's the majority, basically. That they aren't very good away. I think other than Wolves, I don't think they've won away. So they're I'm not convinced by them, I have to be honest. I think Palace have just had a really rough trot at the moment because of games. They've had a load of games. Fulham have improved a bit, but could you imagine if someone said to you on the first day of the season that going into the new year we'd be behind Sunderland, Brentford, Palace, and Fulham? I mean, you probably think we were bottom of the league, or down there at least. I mean, it's quite incredible, really. Oh, you're on mute, mate.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Bill, I'm going to bring that table up again for you, mate. Thoughts on where we sit? Do you think it's where Spurs are sitting? Obviously, we just talked about Brentford, but in terms of where Spurs are sitting, do you think 11th is fair? Although, obviously, as we were just saying, like 3 points lower and we're back in 15th, or 3 points higher and we're back up in 7th. Why is it so close this year? Do you just think teams are... Go on, mate.
It's just a very inconsistent league, isn't it? Like it's wide open. It's absolutely wide open. And if you can put on a good run of form, there's no reason why we can't get right back into that, towards the European places. I think now we've got the win, we can stop all the sort of the hysterics that I like to sometimes buy into about the relegation and stuff like that, because what are we, 12 points above relegation now? So that's, we can write that off and start looking above again. And, I kind of feel like if, we've got some really favourable fixtures, but we have to improve the way that we're playing. Otherwise, then, suddenly Brentford and Sunderland looks difficult if you're playing like we did against Palace again. But, I think our next 4 games are Brentford, Sunderland, West Ham and Burnley. So if we can get, on a normal season, that should be 4 wins. But this season, we're not quite playing very well. And then, who knows what to expect. But if we can get 3 or 4 wins there, we'll be right up at the top of the table again, pushing towards those European places. It just shows we've been so bad lately, but we're still 4 points off Champions League places. It's mental. It's absolutely crazy. It just shows you how poor the stand of the league is at the moment. So let's put a run together, because we haven't had one for a while. So it's the beginning of this. It's a very open 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that's down to obviously our away form. As we were saying, the best away form in the league is absolutely crazy, but 17th worst home form. And you think to yourself, if we can somehow get some more points at home, suddenly you're absolutely right. We can get into those European places. In terms of the head-to-heads against Brentford, again, guys, if you're still watching and you're waiting for the transfers, we're going to be talking about transfers in 5-10 minutes. It is my favourite part, talking about transfers, to be fair. I'm sure a lot of you agree. But just a bit more about the Brentford game coming up, and we'll get our score predictions in, of course. And guys, I've got to say, just to remind you, I'm the only one that predicted a Tottenham win at Palace, just to let you know. You all predicted a pessimistic draw, Billy and Frank. Pessimistic.
Mine was a festive draw, to be fair. I remember saying it was a festive draw.
Mine was also a festive draw.
Yeah, and I said, do you remember I said 2-1? But it wasn't. It was 1-0. So I can't claim too much on that. But head to head, obviously, like I said, we beat them 2-0 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in one of our only home Premier League wins this season. Obviously, with Xavi Simons scoring, and who got the second goal in that game was
Richarlison?
Was it Richard? Oh, it says at the bottom there.
Assist,
I even brought it up myself.
Oh yeah,
Richarlison.
Yeah. Assist.
That's right. And then
did
obviously,
did Xavi miss this game?
Yeah,
it is. It is still 3 games for straight.
Yeah.
Some reds it's not, but some it is. Yeah, this one's 3 games.
Just briefly touching on the last 5, we've beaten them basically in the last 4 matches. Including in some dire times against them under Ange in sort of the start of 2024, end of 2025, and we even beat them away in 2025 February when we weren't having a good run in the league. So interesting that we seem to get the better of them. In fact, I
remember that last season. That was when people were honestly talking about us being relegated, isn't it? And then we won that game. And
that's
it kept the heat off us for a little bit.
But anyway, what I wanted to say was looking at their key threats. I know everyone's picked a player, and I've put it all into one slide here. But Igor Thiago being the obvious one. 11 goals in the Premier League this season in 18 matches. 0.61 goals per match. Pretty good ratio. Seems to be finding his feet pretty well. And if you look at this is ordered by goals. The second most is Sharda, who I know, Bill, you want to very briefly mention. But it looks like Igor Thiago is carrying most of their goals. So I'd say he's their key threat. What do we need to do to stop him, Frank? Because I've been pretty impressed with him this season. I don't know about you.
I think simply not give him any penalties. Whilst I quite like Thiago, he has scored a boatload of penalties. I think it's 7 of his 11 have been penalties.
Really?
It's a big no. It's either 7 or 5. I think it's 7. Which is a lot.
6,
right?
You're in between.
It's 6, right? That's the thing. Like I think he is a decent player. I was very unimpressed with him when they came to us, but I was unimpressed with them all, to be honest, when they came to us. So I think no penalties, and I think having Romero back will be important as well. So whilst I thought Danso played well yesterday, obviously, I think having Romero back will be important. So I'd like to think that defensively those 2 at the back should be able to cover him personally.
Absolutely. And Bill, I know you wanted to mention Sharda, who we've been linked with in the past. What do you make of this guy? Do you think he's having a good season so far?
Yeah, I mean, 6 goals from a wide player is very good, isn't it? And I think the main reason why I did want to bring him up, because I know that there's been interest in him, and obviously he's got a perfect hat-trick at the weekend, so it's coming bang into form. He's the first German to ever score 2 hat-tricks in the Premier League, so there's a nice little stat for you. But
wow.
I don't know how, does it say his age there? I don't know how old he is.
Sharda?
But, I'm not sure. Is he a young player or is he
24?
24, so about middle-aged. And I could actually quite see us going for someone like him in January, to be honest. Just like a player that Thomas Frank obviously knows well. And I think, when we got Thomas Frank, I think the big thing was, what he did. I think a lot of people are so impressive at Brentford as way that he gets, wide players scoring. We haven't quite seen it at Tottenham yet. Obviously Sharda and Wemo was, he was really strong for getting forwards to score goals at Brentford. He hasn't quite translated to Tottenham yet, so maybe getting someone from Brentford might help him a little bit. And it could be quite a smart signing. I also see they've got interest in Johnson and a few other clubs too as well. So I know I'll probably talk about that in a bit. But I think obviously coming off the bat of a hat trick, a dangerous player, and I think if you can stop those 2 that we just mentioned, that's their goal threat, isn't it? Really, they don't really have many players that can chip in with goals. But Thiago and Sharda have scored 17 of their goals. So those are the 2 players up front to look out for sure.
Absolutely, mate. I couldn't agree much more. Obviously, the game's in 3 days' time. Score predictions, guys. I'm going to start with Frank. And guys, let me know in the chat. I'll bring them up if you predict the score. And guys, remember, a little midway through the video, we're going to be doing some transfer updates in just 2 minutes. So please, if you enjoy the transfer updates, do me 3 massive favors. They are free to do so. And I won't ask again, is to hit the like button, please. Turn on the notification bell to never miss a transfer video or an update. And subscribe to Spurs related. If you are new, I think we're only 100 subscribers. I can't remember I get confused with the milestones, but I know we're on our way to 5,000. So please do like, subscribe, and notification bells on. It's all free to do so. And if you're in a position to do so and you want to put a question in about the transfers, there is the super chat option down below, as cheap as 99p. And also you can become a member and have your chat prioritized. But as I said, guys, get your score predictions in. I'm going to Frank on his one first, and then I'm going to get some people in the chat to give their score predictions. What do you reckon, Frank, on Thursday at is it called the G Tech Community still?
Yeah. I don't know. Brentford are good at home, but we're good away. So it's quite a difficult one. I think we might score some goals, actually. I know Liverpool went there and it finished 3-2, I think. United went there and it was 3-2 or maybe 3-1. I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham. I'll predict a Tottenham win, but I think it'll be tight. But I do think there'll be goals. It feels like it could be quite an open game.
So you've gone 2-1 Tottenham, Frank, yeah?
3-2 Tottenham.
Sorry, 3-2. Sorry. 3-2. Billy T, 3-2 Tottenham win, or are we going something different? You're on mute. You've done what I did.
I'm going what you just said before. I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham, I think. Back in the positivity phase. I'm not particularly confident, but I don't like to predict a loss. But I think the atmosphere will be good. I think one thing will be interesting is, who do you guys think will play in the number 10 role if Bergwijn is injured? Because there's not a lot of anyone, not many players left to play there. He kind of almost put Gray there yesterday a little bit. But I mean, obviously, so Bergwijn will probably be injured, and then you've got Xavi, who's also injured. I mean, suspended. So who's going to play 10? Sarr is obviously an AFCON. That's 3 of the season.
My hunch would be he'd either play Odobert there, because he played quite centrally at points yesterday, Odobert, or he'd play Kudus and then Johnson or Odobert.
That's what I thought, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd probably prefer to see Odobert there of those two options. But
yeah, I think so.
Maybe Bergwijn will make it. Who knows?
Richarlison keeps dropping deep as well, almost into the 10 at times. So who knows? I don't think Thomas Frank knows either. But Stefan Everington has gone for a 2-1 Spurs win. Frank Thomas has gone for a 3-2. Billy T's gone for a 2-1. So we all think both teams to score. I'm going to go for I think 2-1. I'm agreeing with Billy and Stefan. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs win. Hopefully we can get the job done. And yeah, Odobert deserves a start, man. He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant coming off the bench. Hopefully that form can continue. But guys, we are going to get into, and Ad's gone for a 3-0 Spurs win. Andrew's gone for a 2-1 Spurs win, and loving the picture of your dog there. Always love the profile pictures. But let's go into talking about some transfer news. But before we go into it, sort of to do with transfers, what big part of transfer news is that Fabio Paratici was spotted during the Tottenham's clash at Crystal Palace. And obviously Paratici, if you didn't know, guys, has been locked in talks with Fiorentina over becoming the club's head of football. And the news has come as a bit of a shock to Tottenham earlier this week, as Fabrizio Romano revealed. In fact, it has been reported that Paratici has already verbally agreed on a 4.5-year contract with Fiorentina, with an announcement on his Tottenham future expected very soon. So, the big question, why was Paratici there with Vinay in the stands? Is he staying? Is this a farewell game? Is this a last bit of advice from Paratici to Vinay? What's going on, Bill? What do you reckon?
I don't think he's staying now. I think it will almost certainly be confirmed probably in the next few days that he's going. A bit of a strange one to see him there, I guess. Maybe the Tottenham board and Vinay, his boss, will be saying, "Can you at least try and have to remain professional?" So I guess it's always a negotiating play, isn't it, from Fiorentina? Interestingly, I think. Apparently, it was pretty much confirmed this weekend that he was gone. So I was not expecting to be there. I don't know what will happen with garden leave and things like that. I don't know if Tottenham will let him work this season. It's usually how it works in that kind of role is if you jump ship someone else, you won't be able to start working until the next summer. So be interested to see what happens there. But I think he'll be gone anyway. Did see a couple of rumours during the rounds. Him and Vinay were meeting with Parish to talk about the Johnson sale. So that's another rumour to add into the books. But I still think it's an end of an era. I don't think this appearance will mean he's staying.
Okay, so hello and then goodbye, maybe. Frank, what do you reckon?
I mean, Bill might have seen this on Twitter as well. Might know slightly more than I do. But that, and I'm not bringing back the in the nose, but they do excite me.
I know exactly what you're about to say. Yeah, I have seen it.
Is it Himothy?
It is, yeah.
You love that guy. You love him, Frank.
But I think I remember him being pretty good. I remember him being pretty good. And he said yesterday that he's gone, and it was over what to do with Thomas Frank, and that's why he's gone.
Right.
Which, if that's true, is interesting.
Well,
I mean, it's difficult to speculate, isn't it? But I think if he's leaving for Fiorentina, who are bottom placed, and they're like Wolves bottom place, they're proper bottom place. They've won one game of the season. They almost will certainly be relegated. Then has to be alarm bells ringing there, right? Something must have gone wrong because I only employed him about a month ago or so.
Yeah, it's there's definitely been some sort of.
I've heard a few things that apparently a couple of different. Obviously, we're just speculating here, but I've heard that he was already promised a job when Levy was chairman, and then so they felt like they had to keep him on. I heard that he sort of, doesn't particularly work well with Lange. Again, we're only speculating here, so I don't know the actual truth. But the big thing that I've heard a few times is he doesn't want Thomas Frank to be our manager anymore, and that's not. I don't think the club are at the moment considering sacking him. So
basically, it sounds like Paratici is a bit more ballsy than some of the other contingents at the club, and I mean, I've never been convinced on Johan Lange. I'll be honest. I've never been fully convinced on him. You can have your own opinion on him. I just don't think. I mean, the amount of times we leave transfers to the last minute in the last few windows, and it's just chaos at the end, and then we're looking back months after and going, "Why didn't we sign this player? Why didn't we sign this position?" It's just frustrating.
And I think, regardless of what whether that is true and what's not true, losing the director of football and the week before a January transfer window is not good. So
it's the most Tottenham thing.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the club at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I probably imagine that they made him stay there yesterday to try and at least give the illusion of some kind of calmness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about more positive stuff. Then hopefully these are going to be coming into fruition. And this is one player that actually I am very keen on. Bill, I know you mentioned as well in the chat. I think you're a bit of a fan of Samu. And the link is that, we're linked with Samu at Agehoa. I think I've pronounced that right. But most people refer him to as Samu. He's played a few times for Spain. But we're eyeing up a move for a striker. And the club is one of many sides across Europe eyeing him up. And in other transfer news, in terms of the wider thing, this is to do with, this is via Alistair Gold of Football London, of course, a very trusted journalist. Saying if Dragusin departs this month, then Spurs are expected to bring in another centre-back through the door. The midfield is expected to be a key upgrade area in January if the right candidate can be secured. And we've got a couple to talk about that we've been rumoured and linked with. And then the left wing is the priority next month, as well as potentially adding in that midfielder and centre-back, as I said. But a natural left-back will be sought either now or in the summer. So quite a bit there. And players that are allowed to be departed will be Johnson and Dragusin, who are looking for more game time and having price tags that have not fallen. So I'll start with you, Frank, just to summarise that kind of those key points, and then we'll talk a bit more about Samu and Goretzka and everyone else. Who do you think should be the priority, mate? Not necessarily the player, but the positions.
I think a left back has to be like up there somewhere. I mean, when Jed got injured yesterday, and he was obviously all right to carry on, but when he got injured, I was sat there thinking we are actually in a pretty dire situation here, because you've got Ben Davies and Porro, who right now is looking like a shell of the player because I think he's been run into the ground. And Ben Davies, who's come off the back of an injury, and as much as I like him as a rotation option and whatever for the cups, he's not an elite level left back. So you need a left back. That the fact they went into the season really with one actual left back is concerning to me. Anyway, I think other than that, a left winger is important if the manager that we have actually fancies putting the ball forward. Then it's important because. Well, I think that left-hand side is weaker, but as long as they don't go and sign another Odobert Hotel, we're linked to that Malik Fofana a lot in the summer. And whilst he might be a top player, I don't want another one of those. If they're going to go and get one that's 23, 24, that takes you up. And it's hard to get in January. I'm not sitting and pretending it's not, but they need to stop signing players that are squad players and go and sign some players that are actually improvements on what you have. And whilst that's difficult to do in January, you see other clubs manage to do it. So it's important that I think a left winger and a left back are for me the most important. I also think if he's been cleared of punching someone in the face a couple of weeks ago, I think Ivan Toney's one that probably might happen. That wouldn't shock me at all. Before the World Cup, 6-month loan.
I've heard with Tony, it won't happen until the summer. I don't know how true that is. I think it's unlikely.
When did he go? Was it last summer he went, or was it this year? It was last year, I think.
He's been there since 24, right?
Because you've got to. I'm pretty sure you've got to stay there for 2 years for it to be tax free.
Yeah, that's why he can't stay. That's why he has to stay till summer.
That's
at the same time, you'd also think that if we can sort of say, he's in danger of not making the World Cup squad at the moment, isn't he, as well? So it depends how much what he wants out of the money or the World Cup.
I feel like he's very much the money guy. I mean, to go over there and change your career up like that. But anyway, we did mention very quickly, Bill, I'll get your thoughts on Samu in a minute, and I've got a couple of things more to bring up to do with transfers, of course. But as we said, as he said here, Dragusin looking for some game time. Obviously, he came on yesterday, which was great to see after a long injury. He was out with an ACL, wasn't he? So it was nice to see him back after a good few months out. I'm just going to bring this onto my screen very quickly. But essentially, just to overwrite sort of what I'm saying there. That's the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. That Roma are looking into signing Tottenham's Dragusin, according to Sky Sport, in Europe. What do you make of this? Do you think we need to keep Dragusin? It feels like we've not had the best depth in centre backs, and then Dragusin comes back, and then suddenly he's linked with going for game time. Bill, what do you reckon?
I wouldn't be. I think I would sell him just to get a bit of money through the door and get some space in the squad, because obviously Romero and Van der Ven are two centre backs that are going to start 90% of our games. Danso is good, as we saw yesterday. Good depth for Romero, and then we got Takai, who finally made a bench yesterday, and Davis. I wouldn't be thrilled to have to play Davis in any game at the moment, but Takai, you would hope, would come through. I mean, surprised that they would be getting another centre back if they got Dragusin, because then that's 6 centre backs again that we have on the books. So it's probably too many. But I guess with the fact that Van der Ven and Romero often go through big injuries, both of them, then maybe it is needed. But I wouldn't be adverse to selling him at all. I think he's really struggled in the Premier League. He might be more suited to Thomas Frank, ironically, but if it gets some money and then also gets rid of his agent, who does not stop talking about him wanting to leave, so I think it'd probably be better for everyone if he was sold, to be honest, because it's not really worked out. He's way younger than he looks, isn't he? Isn't he about 22? Isn't he, Dragusin?
So I think you're right.
Very young for a centre back still, so you can see that there's still plenty of potential there, and he might fit Thomas Frank's system more, but I can't see him getting much game time, to be honest. If his agent's going to keep moaning about it, just to get some money while we can, I think.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean,
in answer to that question, he has indeed already been yapping about him moving.
Yeah, it's just for the audio listeners. Cyril McCoy is saying, is Dragusin's agent been yapping again? It does seem like it, as you just said, Bill. I'll come to you in just a sec, Frank. I want to get a couple more comments in. Wide Eye saying it looks like we'll get some old potential Deadwood come in. 9 goals in 14 games for Porto in the Portuguese league is nothing to write home about. I think that's pretty good. 9 and 14. I don't think that's a bad record. Who is Samu? Well, we're gonna update you, Frank. I'll go to you, and then we'll bring up a little bit about Samu, a bit more into him.
I was just going to say that why I like Dragusin, and I think he's been unlucky, obviously, in the last year, and I think that he would suit Thomas Frank, actually. What I do think is a bit like Brennan Johnson and Richarlison and some of these guys now. If you don't want them very much and you think you can find better players, we have a dreadful history of selling players at the right time. Sell these guys at the right time. If you think you can, if 35 million comes in for Brennan Johnson or whatever, and instead of, and I think that's probably part of the reason Levy went, to be honest, because instead of dilly-dallying over, I want 40 or 45, let him go. Take 35. If you can think you can find someone better, then let these guys go. And it's what Chelsea do very well and have done very well for the last couple of years, actually, to be fair to them. Bar maybe Lukaku, which was just a dreadful bit of business. The last couple of years they've sold, granted to themselves most of the time, but they've sold. Whereas we are like very bad at it. So if an offer comes in that where you make your money back or whatever, then I think it probably has to be done. Whilst I quite like him, I think you've got Takai there, you've got Vuskovic coming in, you've got Ashley Phillips still at the club. That you have options, and you can, if you make 20-25 million back, you go and find someone else. I think that's probably the logical thing to do.
Absolutely. Guys in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. Radu Dragusin, do you think he will go to Roma? Do you think he'll go move away from Tottenham, or would you keep him in and amongst the squad, available for when things like Romero getting sent off happens or someone getting injured happens? Let us know in the comments section. But as we said, Bill rightly said, we've got 6 centre-backs technically with Takai, Van der Ven, Romero. Do you count Davies as a centre-back as well? Obviously, Danzo as well. So who's the 6th? I'm trying to think. Dragusin, you count Dragusin as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's... conscious of time, see the numbers growing because transfers just bring in people. We love talking about transfers. Let's share this screen 1 second and let's talk about Samu, the guy on the right. So Tottenham apparently weighing up a move, and guys, this isn't really like tier 1. I just want to point that out. A lot of the time we will bring you only tier 1 news, but obviously at the moment, while the transfer news is quite low in the grand scheme of things, we will bring you any sort of clues as to what may turn into a tier 1 transfer piece of news. But Tottenham are weighing up a move to sign FC Porto striker Samu in the January transfer window. Tottenham has suggested signings are likely in the winter window as Spurs look to improve from a challenging start to the campaign. Obviously, we're 11th, as we mentioned. Aguahoa has emerged as a potential option for Spurs following a prolific period in Portugal. The 21-year-old has scored 43 goals in 68 matches since joining Porto from Atletico Madrid in 2024. His performances have seen him break into the Spain squad, as I mentioned, where he has won 4 senior caps. The forward came close to joining Chelsea, but moved to Porto after a deal with Chelsea fell through. Bill, I'll start with you, mate. I know you mentioned Samu in the chat earlier. What's your thoughts on this guy? Would you want to sign him? And do you think he might be the right man for Tottenham?
Firstly, I'm encouraged that we're after a striker. I think it's something that we badly need to address in the next 2 windows. We need to sign a prolific striker. We need to make... Obviously, we're definitely not going to use this one as a blueprint because it's been a disaster. But, a Goretzka style signing where we're going to spend a lot of money on a striker. And on that note, actually, that would be a little bit of a concern because, the goals in that league obviously do not translate to goals in the Premier League, as Arsenal have seen. But I think he's actually in some ways kind of similar because he's a very physical striker. But I think he's a lot fast. He's got good pace as well. I think Chelsea tried to sign him. That collapsed. The thing is, for me, the striker market, there isn't loads available. It's not like a couple of years ago when everyone was after Goretzka, and everyone was after whoever Chelsea ended up, Delap and people like that. There's not many strikers on the market at the moment at all, unless you're going to go to Brentford or Forest and buy Thiago Jesus or Thiago, and that's going to take a lot of money because at this stage in the world, Premier League clubs just don't need to sell. So there's not loads of strikers on the market at all. So he's one that I definitely earmarked as being encouraging. I think he's very highly rated, obviously young as well, 21. So yeah, it'd be a good signing, I think. And I'm just encouraged to think that we're signing a striker because I think that's, I'm not sure that we're ever going to see Solanke return to the player that he wants, that he came. And he was supposed, we spent a lot of money on him, and it's looking like that's going to fail as an experiment now because I don't know if, he's still rumoured to be 3 months away. And then even at his best, he wasn't particularly prolific. I want to find a prolific goal scorer. So definitely think we need a striker in the next 2 windows.
Absolutely, mate. I agree. And we obviously talked about Richarlison being a bit hot and cold. Had a decent game the other day, as Frank said, but
he's actually not really. He's actually turned into our best striker at the moment, hasn't he, Richarlison? There you go.
He is, but I feel like that is a lot. Like we need better quality if we're going to be a serious team competing in Europe. I know Frank's dying to say something about Richarlison again, but I want to just quickly ask the question in the chat. There's about 50 of you watching on YouTube. Great numbers, guys. Please keep smashing the support. I know I'm not even going to tell you to like the video. You should know that is something we have to do. But a question for the chat: what do Spurs need in January? Do we need a left back? Do we need a striker? Do we need another centre back? Do we need a midfielder? We haven't even talked about midfielders yet. We're going to do that for the last 5 minutes. Frank, I know you said about a left back as well. I mean, it feels like we need 4 or 5 different players in the January transfer window, but we know it's such a hard window. Guys, let me know. There's 50 of you watching on YouTube. Let me know who you think we need, what players we need, or what positions we need. I'm going to bring up this comment. I haven't even read it. It's such a risk always. Ooh, Samu. All of my wishes came true.
We got a chant already. There you go.
Ooh, Samu. What's that, Bill?
I don't know the tune, but it looks like we've got a chant for him already.
Yeah, look at that. You're already warming to him, wide eye. Surreal, McCoy's, I expect more from Wharton. He's a striker that doesn't score goals. He hasn't been firing, has he? He maybe hasn't been the player we thought he would be. He has had injuries, but most of them have been sort of, the dead leg one wasn't great, was it? Darren Kilbane, we need to sort out the midfield and both flanks, left winger, right back, and a top central midfielder. Darren's Christmas list is extended to 2026. But Frank, I'm going to go to you. What do you think? The question I've asked the chat, what do you think we need in January, mate? I know you've mentioned a left back, but maybe give me a few player names and also give me your opinion on Samu very quickly as well.
There's the guy I quite like is, I can't think of his first name, Nathaniel Brown at Frankfurt. That's it. Yeah, Nathaniel Brown. He's one that I quite like, and I think as well with him is you get your homegrown ticked off as well, which I think makes sense. And he's you need someone that's going to be capable enough to play a lot. Because Udoji's never fit. When Udoji is fit, which is a rarity, the guy is unplayable, but he's playing well. He's brilliant, but he's so rarely fit, and so you need someone that's going to play enough and compete to a high enough level and actually push Udoji to want to be back. Because I think so often players at Spurs are comfortable that they play that, and I use Richarlison as an example. Richarlison has not had an injury yet this season, which is amazing. Maybe that's just because the World Cup's coming up and all of a sudden he cares.
He's superhuman.
I think a lot of players are like that. I think when the going gets tough, I think some of them do back down a little bit. And I think some of them take themselves out of it when we're not doing well. I mean, there were a couple last year, and that got sort of pathetic injuries that were out for a week or 2 weeks when it was really tough in January, and I think it takes them out the limelight a little bit. And so you need someone that pushes Udoji to be like, I want to play. I understand he's had bad injuries. I'm not suggesting he hasn't. He's lying, but you get the point that you want these guys to really want to be a part of it, and I think having sufficient depth gives you that. So he's one I'd look at, and I think with Samu, I think he looks like he's doing all right. I think he looks like quite an exciting player. Some of the bits of in Europe I've seen of him are exciting, and that Porto team are like flying at the moment as well, under Farioli. So they're quite exciting, and it does give me the vibes a little bit.
They've won like 10 out of 11 games, haven't they, or something like that?
Yeah, I think they conceded like 3 goals or something ridiculous. Like they're like really flying.
There's another manager we've been linked with as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it worryingly gives me sort of Gyökeres, Amorim vibes a little bit. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't, but I listen. If they go out and they think that he's the right one, and they go and spend 60 or 70 million on him or whatever, and they think he's the right one that makes us better, then I'm here for it. It's
interesting though, isn't it? Because you can probably make comparisons to both Sesko and Gyökeres, and both of them have struggled really, haven't they? So it's really hard. It's hard, especially a striker, to hit the ground running in the Premier League. Then you get some sort of gems like Thiago and Igor Jesus that come out of nowhere and banging in goals left, right, and centre. So it's really hard to predict who's going to make it in the Premier League.
Weirdly, I actually quite like Sesko. On a slightly different note about that.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's actually quite a good player.
He's got a much better all-round game than Gyökeres, isn't he?
Agreed. Yeah, I think it will work. I just think it hasn't clicked yet. Whereas Gyökeres looks like he's never played the sport before.
And then there's the option of Marmoush as well, which I can see a couple of people talking about in the chat about Man City. I think Ornstein has since come out and said that they're both going to stay. So Savinho and Marmoush. So I don't know how realistic that is. They'd be more willing to let go of Bob apparently, but
he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's out of favour though, isn't he?
Yeah, I think with Marmoush in particular, it would be such an exciting signing. But he's their only backup to Haaland, isn't he? So I can't see it. Sadly,
I think Marmoush has got real sort of Sonny vibes when he was sort of 24, 25, that sort of age. And he's a proper finisher, but he'll hurt you with pace. And I mean, there's the goal he scored against Bournemouth last year. I think the one, the goal of the season, where he hits it from like 40 yards from the top corner. It was a bit like the Sonny goal against West Ham that time at Wembley, where he just sort of, and I think he's a game changer like Sonny was. That I like Savinho. I think Savinho's exciting and I think Marmoush hurts you, like really hurts you, because I think he scores goals as well. He would be like a real unbelievable signing if they got him.
Absolutely. Good points, guys. I'm going to get to the chat. And thank you very much to James119. Great name, by the way. Thank you very much for the super chat. James, let us know who you want in the transfer window, but appreciate the super chat. And guys, just a reminder, there are 50 of you watching. Keep whacking your questions in, but make sure if you aren't in a position to hit the super chats in, which we're greatly appreciative of, hit the like button, guys. It is free to do so. Turn on those noties and subscribe. They are the 3 easy and free things to do, but really appreciate that again, James. Thank you very much. Let us know who you want in the transfer window. But the Farsha's in here saying Samu only prolific in the Portuguese league, didn't even get a game at Atletico Madrid. A lot of people against Samu, guys. Cyril saying the problem is all our players played at fullback. Doji, Porro, Spence are wing backs. Darren saying Robertson of Fulham at left back would be great to Spence for right back. Porro is awful defensively. Manu of United, and if we could get Marmoush, would be great. Manu, I mean, what's happened to him? I mean, there's 3 Manu t-shirts in the works as well, isn't there at the moment? I saw Kish had one of them on earlier. Actually, I don't know what he's doing with that one. On maybe he wants him at Tottenham. We'll have to ask him. But what I saying, Adam Wharton, Osimhen, Bradley, Barcola, and Nicolo Barella. Not an unrealistic list there. You know,
I'll tell you what, if we do that in January, then I'll get a Lewis family tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well.
That'd be a dream.
Banging Yamal there as well.
Sorry, but Barella's a hell of a shout. I wonder if you could get Barella, because I think that'd be that's a sort of signing that I think takes you up a level. Because
do you know what though?
Same with Osimhen, isn't it?
It's a Paratici signing, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Paratici signing.
And I think if the Lewis families are genuinely serious about making us contenders to compete with the likes of Arsenal and Man City, then players like Osimhen, that's the way to do it. But it's can't imagine a world, can you? Really, sadly.
Look at that. Banding out all sorts of names. Love it. Less known, what do you think of Harry Wilson's contract ending in 2026 June? 20 million transfer fee. I don't know, but he is experienced and can create and score. And he's had a good couple of weeks, hasn't he? I'm pretty sure he got 2 assists and a goal a couple games ago, didn't he? He's been doing pretty well, Harry Wilson. Frank, Bill, anything to add on him?
I think he'd be a flying squad player, wouldn't he? It'd be interesting to see how he scaled up to him. Because he obviously came from Liverpool, didn't he? But
yeah,
I mean, I've got him in my fantasy football team, so
5 goals, 4 assists in 17 this season.
He's got some absolute bangers as well, hasn't he? Like some ridiculous goals that he scored.
Surreal saying our players are more suited to a 3-4-3. Sorry, it must be 3-4-3, 3-5-2. But we still didn't realise Son replaced Son to play on the left, nor enough centre backs to cover to play a back 3. Absolutely, I thought 3-4-2. That's not a formation. It is when you play against Liverpool and get 2 players sent off. It is. That would be a 3-4-1. Big up to all. Corey says Scott Hyman. Big up Scott Hyman. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're doing well. Couple more transfer things, guys. Keep whacking your comments in. Keep whacking your likes in. Let us know if you want more transfer window content. Actually, do you know what? Little engagement piece. If you like the transfer videos, please press 1 in the chat. Press 1. That's like a call center, isn't it? Put number 1 in the chat and like the video if you want more transfer updates like this. So, Goretzka has been shut down by a couple of journalists. Bill sent it to me just before the stream, but I did prepare this slide. According to Transfer Insider, Dean Jones, guys, is he reliable? Maybe not so reliable. But anyway, we'll go with it. Spurs are receptive to the idea. There have been a few stories linking Spurs with Goretzka, and there is something in it. The player is keen to explore a move to the Premier League, and since Spurs have been sounded out, there have been a few people willing to consider the idea. Goretzka is a midfield capable of bringing consistency and leadership to Tottenham's central midfield, qualities that have been lacking throughout this campaign. Spurs may have a real opportunity to bring in a proven international to help stabilise the midfield of the park. And I feel like, guys, we have talked a lot about left backs. We have talked about strikers. We talked about other positions in this episode. Obviously, we haven't really talked about much about the midfield. Obviously, Palhinha, doesn't seem to be getting a massive run. I don't know particularly why. I don't think that's the right decision necessarily. We could debate that for another episode. But Bill, do you think Goretzka is someone that Spurs could do with, considering his experience and his sort of winning mentality?
I think it would end up going the same way as a Palhinha signing, where it's just I think he's probably a bit too similar to Bentancur and Palhinha for me. I think our massive issue is that we don't have a progressive passer in there. Like an Adam Wharton type. I don't think that's Goretzka's strength. I think he's very physical, sort of, similar to Bentancur and Palhinha. I think it would be too similar. I think what this would be is kind of going back to the Spurs of old, where obviously, if you look at 2 of our transfers recently, Palhinha, which will obviously, I imagine we will make permanent for 25 million, and Tell. What we're essentially doing there is, we know that Bayern Munich essentially owe us about £80 million for Harry Kane, and we're just saying, okay, well, who can you give us to offset the money then? So that'd be 3 transfers. And I think if you looked at that swap Tell, Goretzka, and Palhinha for Kane. It's a bit depressing, isn't it? So I'd rather not do this one. Thank you. I want a really creative midfielder. I think that's what we're badly missing under Thomas Frank. And obviously, the dream would be Adam Wharton. I would hope that there's some, Edison at Atlanta, someone I hear a lot about as well. And there's a player called Kone at Roma. I think that's apparently statistically really good. Don't know much about either of them, but I've seen that a few people on Twitter rate them. But I want a progressive passer in there, basically, because I just don't think we got. And we saw it yesterday. Adam Wharton, get the ball, pass it forward. It does it every single time. I don't think we do that enough. So I think I do think centre midfield is a big thing for us, though. And there you go. As someone put in the chat there, Edison and Kone would be two to look out for, I think.
Yeah, Spurs and the poll. Very much agreeing with you there, Bill. Two players we should probably do a little episode on. Maybe we should do.
And Spurs de Paul has done another one as well. Neves. I think Neves is a really interesting one because I think he's almost certain to leave Saudi in January. So I think that could be a really smart transfer. I think that's a really good shout.
Absolutely. Frank, I'll come to you in just a minute. Goretzka, what are we running here? A euthanasia program for the elderly. We'll have to bring in a couple of English players, so I think we'll get the midfielder from Middlesbrough. Yeah, what's his name? Hayden Hackney. Yeah, potentially.
Did you see his foul the other day that he didn't get sent off for?
Just the first player who would have had 3 red cards for that. But...
Yeah, and they would have sent Romero off as well, just for good measure.
We don't need any more red card type players. Koi72, good evening all. Hope everyone's well. Thank you for joining, mate, and thank you for all you guys joining in the chat. It's been very active today. Of course, transfer news is always the time of year we absolutely love.
I think that might be a good episode we could do in the next week or two, couldn't it, about looking at those centre mid options, because I think it's an area that we badly need, isn't it? I don't know.
Absolutely.
The ones that the Spurs and the Paul mentioned there, I'll take any of them, to be honest.
100%. There's a few good options there. Obviously, we've briefly mentioned Wharton, but going into another article, it says that competition for Wharton has only intensified. Many clubs interested in him. Wharton impressed once again for Palace in their 1-0 defeat. And as we were saying, he wasn't even at his best and he was still good. Palace Chiefs remain determined to keep hold of their highly rated midfielder. When manager Oliver Glasner and star defender Mark Guehi are expected to leave. However, there is an acceptance that Wharton would be allowed to depart should the right bid arrive. Spurs are planning upgrades across the squad and have drawn up a list of ambitious targets. Of course, it's not a Spurs transfer window without ambitious targets, is it, guys? But a couple more pieces. I found this website. I mean, it's not the most tier 1 website I've ever found, but it's called Transfer Feed. I thought it was quite a good website, and it's kind of listing what players we've been linked with in the news. I think it gives a really good view. Obviously, some of these are a bit unrealistic, but some of these have been definitely mentioned about on Twitter. Obviously, Marmouche we talked about. Ter Stegen is one that we haven't even mentioned. Could Ter Stegen come to Tottenham? Is that one that could happen? Goretzka we've mentioned. Conor Gallagher is one that I literally 3 minutes before the stream came in on this feed site.
And every window we get linked to this guy, don't we?
I know. I was thinking it's perfect. 3 minutes before the stream, I thought let's bring that up. Tottenham are monitoring Gallagher apparently. We've been monitoring him for about 5 years. Gallagher has spoken with Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone regarding his future and is expected to accelerate his departure from the club in January. So maybe one to keep an eye on. Atletico have agreed that Gallagher can leave in January in their wishes and demands are met. If their wishes and demands are met, and a potential issue for Atletico's preference for a permanent midfield transfer, but intermediaries believe a loan that includes an option could be a more realistic result. And of course, we love a loan to buy, don't we, at Tottenham Hotspur? We are loan to buy Hotspur. McCoy's saying, I just can't see a Chelsea lad like Spurs, like Gallagher wanting to join Spurs. James is saying 100% need a Wharton type of player. And Adam Wharton will go to Bayern for 120 million, says, what's the point? Frank, any of those?
Just jump in super quick. With players like Gallagher and why this January is slightly different to other Januaries is because of the World Cup. Like players, anyone that's not playing at the moment will be desperate for a move this January. So it's definitely a factor to keep an eye on. I mean, Gallagher's probably not going to make the England squad now, but a few years ago he was in the England squad, so he's probably thinking in the back of his mind, I need to get playing somewhere just in case there's a small chance I can make it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Exactly that. Like those sort of fringe players in the international scene. But guys, That is all we have time for. There's some food for thought there. Let me know in the comments who you want us to discuss. Obviously, it's Semenyo we haven't even mentioned, but it looks like he might be going to Man City. I've got Rayan. Don't even know who he is. Excuse my my ignorance. Yildiz, probably unrealistic, but there's so many names. It's transfer news. It's transfer time. It opens in 3 days. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be back on your screens very soon. I'm going to still do that quiz. Keep an eye on that. If you want to see the quiz, turn your notification bell on, like the video. It's free to do so, and subscribe. And we'll see you back on Spurs Related very soon for another transfer news episode or match review. And remember, as always, come on you Spurs! Come on.